Just give in. Relax those mental barriers. They're impressive, to be sure, but if you don't lower them, then they'll eventually crumble. I'd rather not damage you any more than I have to. You felt this before, me probing your mind with my magic. Do you remember that? The day that rogue friend of yours snuck a cursed gem off the armor of one of my generals after you defeated her. I was rather proud of that plan. He'd been snitching little bits and bobs whenever he could throughout your journey, claiming that it wasn't really theft because it all belonged to me. Your entire party was like that, you know. You included. It's not property damage if it's the Demon Queen's property. It's not murder if it's one of the Demon Queen's minions. Anyway, I must say, it was quite a stroke of genius on my part to plant a cursed gem for your sticky-fingered friend to take. It was child's play to use the power of that gem to allow me to reach your mind. You remember that night, don't you? You felt my presence in your mind. It took little time at all for your comrades to discover the gem's secret and destroy it, and yet I made quite an impact on you, didn't I? You were barely fit for battle for days afterwards. And this time I can wield my full power against you, and nobody's gonna stop me. Why even bother to resist? It's only a matter of time. The only question is how broken you'll be by the end. Still so self-sacrificing. Well, you're sadly wrong. You'll be able to serve me effectively, even if I have to shatter you. Letting me destroy your mind won't stop me from using you, but despite your many frustrating qualities, I want you, not an empty shell with your powers. Now, obey me. Follow my commands. Perhaps we need to try something you're not so opposed to. How about revenge? You're not willing to give yourself over to me completely? That's fine. We can work on that later. Just allow me to help you get your revenge on those cruel, backstabbing royals that let you fade into anonymity. They're hopelessly corrupt. You know that. You'd be doing the world a favor by taking them out. Just let me help you. You really don't seek revenge, do you? Hopefully I can help you with that someday. That naivete is just pathetic. How do I get through to you? I know just what to do. Accept my hand in marriage. I'm positive you've considered it. No matter what you claim, there's not a single mortal alive who wouldn't be interested in me, let alone someone who's experienced my charms firsthand. Still, a person can only take so much rejection before they start to take it personally, you know? Never in my life have I met someone so completely unable to come to terms with their own desires. You're no better than any other mortal. You have hopes, dreams, and aspirations, which means you also have fears, secret desires, and envious thoughts. All mortals try to hide this fact from others, but you're the only one, to my knowledge, that has managed to so effectively hide it from themselves. Why do you insist on denying yourself any amount of personal comfort or satisfaction? What's the point? Who is this even for? It certainly can't be yourself, like you claim. Everything you've done has only served to make yourself miserable. It can't be for your kingdom, surely. Your kingdom used you up and tossed you aside. Neither can it be for your former friends. None of them have stepped up to help you in your time of need, and I wouldn't be shocked if most of them could be convinced to join me with a little effort. I've been pondering why you put up such fantastic, infuriating fights. And I think I have a theory. You're doing it for the lie. Yes, the lie that there was a point to your journey. Back then you must have felt so good about yourself. You were doing something important. You were a hero. Everyone loved you and believed in you. Or, at least, that's what you believed. Most people would do anything to feel like their actions mattered the way yours did. But you think that if you give in to me now, you'll invalidate it all. That your contribution to humanity will be entirely undone. And now that you've lost everything, you think that's all you have left. I hate to tell you, well, I really don't, but it never mattered. I'm not the villain. I'm just another player on the world's stage. It doesn't actually matter who wins or who loses. Your royals painted me as some great evil because, of course, they did. They didn't want a rival. You may claim you protected your people, but what about my people? Are demons' lives worth so much less than humans? The underworld has always been harsh and unforgiving, and as our population grew, we had no choice but to expand to greener pastures. Reality wasn't so generous as to provide enough resources for everybody, and so we did what we had to. What, I ask you, was so righteous about you stopping us? About slaughtering demons by the thousands, just so humans could grow fat and lazy in comfort? It was a lie. It was all a lie. You would have been no less a savior if you had joined me. The only difference is, I know how to treat someone as valuable as you. Even now, as I try to brainwash you to my side, I've treated you better than your homeland has in years. You have plenty of food, warm, comfortable living quarters, servants to care for your needs. It doesn't matter which side you help. And so, why not help the side that treats you better? I think that's enough for today. You've never really been that responsive to my speeches or promises. I'll find what motivates you someday, but for now we should eat.
Servants, bring in the table and ready our dinner.
Yes, it's much more elaborate than yesterday's dinner, isn't it? I anticipated that you wouldn't have much of an appetite on your first day here, and that you'd be especially hungry today after your first, session. Oh, now you insult me. What reason could you possibly have to distrust this meal? I suppose you think I poisoned it? I have you at my mercy. If I wanted you dead, it would have already happened. This is exactly the kind of thing I've been telling you about. You pick the most pointless things to be stubborn about. Well now, that's actually not a bad idea. But I don't feel that I need to lace your food with any mind-altering substances. I think the brainwashing would work better without it, actually. But even if it was, you really don't have much of a choice, do you? You can eat the food set in front of you or starve. Look, I'll even take the first bite. That's better. I would have been especially put out if you'd refused to eat this special dinner. You see, I'd actually had a feast like this prepared for us once before, the day you arrived at my palace. Indeed, it was supposed to be a celebration. It seems I had been a touch overconfident that you'd accept my marriage proposal, so I had a feast prepared in advance. It never sat right with me that we never got to eat together. It seemed appropriate to have an identical one prepared for you after you were brought here. I have a question. I hate to ask anything that makes me seem insecure, but I've been dying to know. Did you refuse me out of principle only? Do you still? Or am I just not desirable to you? That question always bothered me. I've received so many marriage proposals from both demons and mortals that I assumed that I was universally sought after. I find it so strange that you never seem to consider agreeing. I find it so strange that you never even seemed to consider agreeing when I offered. So intriguing. I thought you wouldn't answer. Never mind then. It's not important. Just enjoy the meal. I imagine you haven't had an opportunity to eat this well since your victory feast following my defeat. No. There will be no further brainwashing today. I intend to wear you down slowly rather than break you. You are free to spend the rest of the day as you please, so long as you don't try to leave, nor bring harm to my subjects or my property. That being said, I would enjoy it if you spent it with me. You may consider me an enemy, but I know you far, far better than anyone else. The barrier that separates us might be easily stepped over if you'd try. Oh well. There's plenty of time for that change. Plenty of time, indeed. Why? We've been at this for... How long has it been? Weeks? I've never taken more than a few days to break somebody, and that was when I had to be subtle. There's no reason that this should be taking so long. I keep asking you why you're resisting, and I still don't understand. What are you clinging on to? Your kingdom abandoned you. Your friends abandoned you. Your great quest was pointless. I've never met anybody so infuriatingly stubborn. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think I'm just going to get bored and let you go? Do you think that if you refuse to submit to me, that I'll surrender to you and leave your precious human race alone? Perhaps I've misjudged you. Perhaps you're not rational enough to be reasoned with. I'm starting to think you're some sort of a golem, created purely to make me and my kind miserable. I swear, that seems to be your only motivation. You don't care about revenge, justice, wealth, power, or anything else I have to offer. Is that what this is? Are you so empty that the only thing that brings you joy is tormenting your old foe, even to your own detriment? Well, if you think I'm going to give in, you're still just as hopelessly naive as you ever were. There's only one way that this ends, and that's with you as my loyal servant. Perhaps even my spouse, if you're lucky. We will forge an empire together, and to that end, I've gotten my hands on something special. I had hoped that I wouldn't need to use it, but after today's session, I think it's clear that this is the only way.
Bring it in.
This right here, this will be the end of it. The end of your resistance. I'm sure you've never seen the like of it. An artifact of exquisite craftsmanship, isn't it? It's a relic of demon kind. The ancients were fond of the pyramid shape, as you can see, and all the gold and jewels. But this isn't a mere decoration. Oh, no. This is a magical construct designed specifically for this purpose. For bending mortals to our will. I've been hesitant because the ancients were not the most cautious bunch. They didn't particularly care if mortals came out of the process mentally intact. In fact, they might have preferred that they didn't. This instrument is made to produce mindless thralls, not loyal servants. I'll have to exercise a bit of caution when using this on you. There's almost no point if I leave you as a drooling husk of your former self. But I am more than confident that this will do the trick. Now, if I just channel a tiny bit of my power through it. Look at that. You're struggling against this more in the first few seconds than after hours of brainwashing the other way. It's ingenious how it works. Ordinarily, I use my magic to inflame emotions. I take what you already want and feed that desire until it's all you can think about. And I make sure the only way you can achieve that desire is by serving me. But this is different. It implants false memories into you. You'll begin to misremember your whole past. By the end, following me will seem like the only logical choice, because you'll think that's exactly what your whole life has been leading up to. Although, I have to actually access your memories first. I didn't think that was something a person could resist, actually. How are you doing that? Well, I can just make you tell me after we're finished. I just need to use a little more power. What is this? A second wind? You were exhausted just a minute ago. Your mind hasn't been this strong since our very first session. I just need to think positively. Once I do turn you, it will be permanent. If it's this difficult for me to access your mind, then nobody else in this world will be able to get into it and undo it. A little more power, then. I'm close, so close. I wish you wouldn't try so hard, though. You have no idea how difficult it is to push through your mind's barricades without pushing too hard.
Stop that. You can't push back. That's not... What are you? Why do none of the normal rules apply to you? That's it. Give in now. No, I didn't mean to. That wasn't supposed to happen. Speak to me. Say something. Curse you, why did you have to struggle? Come on, wake up. I don't want a zombie, I want you. This can't be happening. I just need to be calm. I can fix this. Yes, I can fix it. Let me look. Can you look at me? Hero, look at me. Oh, this isn't good. You won't even follow simple commands. I pushed far too hard. Let me think. Well, what actually happened, I think. The pieces are still there, just disconnected. I can put them back together. Stay strong, hero. You've held on this long, just hang in there for a little while longer. Connection here, connection there. That's a start. Let's try again. Look at me. Progress. I never thought I'd be happy or so absurdly resilient. A lesser mortal would have let their consciousness drift into nothingness. It can't feel comfortable clinging onto consciousness, though. Like trying to stay awake when you're exhausted. This should make it easier. There. Can you speak? I wouldn't call that speaking. Where's your speech? Where did it float off to? Ah, here. Try again. That's better, I suppose. You were never all that eloquent to begin with, anyway. What next? What next? Oh, this is... And here I thought you didn't truly see the connection we have. I never knew you had such fierce thoughts about me. Everything I did to you during your journey, it's all here in a roiling, festering lump. You remembered everything. It was never personal to me. Not really. I tricked and tormented you because I had to. You were sent against me as an enemy. And part of me enjoyed it, but only because of how thrilling you could be. Naive and simple-minded, yes, but challenging, too. If I had known how much it all infuriated you, perhaps. So you can still speak clearly when you want to. You're right. I wouldn't have done anything even if I'd known. I'm not like you mortals. I don't worry or fuss over mortality. I do what needs to be done. Still, it upsets me somehow to see that you despise me so thoroughly. Perhaps I can tweak this. Oh, all right. That's enough tweaking. You're too delicate as it is. We don't need to fracture your psyche further. A few more connections. Yes. That should do it. Now is the moment of truth, I suppose. Let's see if you're back to normal. Well, do something. Yes, good, Wait. Stop. Turn around. Now, kneel before me. So it worked in the end. You're really mine now, aren't you? And here I thought you'd be back to your old stubborn self, and we'd have to start all over. What do you think of that? Of being my servant? What does it make you feel? That is exactly what I wanted to hear, which worries me. That doesn't sound like something you'd say. Even under my control, I'd expect you to say something hopelessly simplistic. You are yourself, aren't you?
Foolish question for me to ask, as if you'd say no regardless of whether it was true or not. Oh well. After all the frustration you put me through on the way, I should just be grateful that we got to this point at all. Your calmness is admittedly unsettling, but after a while I'm sure it will be a refreshing change from your old self-righteous attitude. Not all that chatty anymore either, are you? It could have been worse, I suppose. As long as you can still fight for me, that's all I really need. It's not really what I envisioned. All the things I hate about you seem to be gone, but I wonder if it's those exact things that made you so frustratingly powerful. No, there's no point in thinking that way. This is a victory. You're mine, hero. Finally. After so long, I finally have you at my side. You're going to bring me and my people into a new age. You'll be my finest servant, my most loyal minion. I've planned for this for years. You're going to change everything.